Hey, I'm going to show you how to produce in Studio One. I'm using Studio One 6. This applies to pretty much all versions of Studio One. This video should be relatively quick, and I think the main takeaway is you don't need to overcomplicate things. Studio One is great for producing music. I often see people asking, like, is it good? Yes, it's good. It's as good as any other software, in my opinion. I want to show you something I whipped up relatively quickly. It's kind of instrumental, lo-fi, pop music. I don't know, somewhere in that space. I don't know exactly what genre this is, but I like it. I think it sounds good, and I'll run you through what I've done. My name's Nick Rollo. I'm a mixing engineer and producer from Australia. I make videos like this to help you learn Studio One and also how to make, pop music, chill music, whatever kind of music you're listening to. I make a lot of different genres. If you use Studio One, there's some links in the description to get some free presets for Studio One that I've made. You can pay as much as you'd like, but it is free, so that's there. If you're an artist and you need a producer or mixing engineer, hit me up. My email and website are in the description below. Let's jump into the video. This is the loudest part of the song. Sounds like this. So I'm using a lot of third-party instruments and effects in this, but if you don't have any third-party stuff, all you have is Studio One stock plugins, that's fine. You can do all of this. These are just tools that I'm using, but you can basically do it with anything. So let's start off with drums. I love the drum pattern editor in Studio One. It's so good. It's just like a step sequencer, basically. I'm using Impact. So if you've got these routed, so these are individually routed, there's a video on that. Basically, all of these are different outputs. If you've got multiple files, if you just click and drag, it highlights all of them. It's a handy little hack, but it sounds like this. I've been a bit lazy with this. If you just open the pattern editor, if you click this thing in the bottom left, show hide automation lanes, you can play around with the velocity. I like to do this with kicks. If I've got a double, just listen to the difference. As opposed to subtle, just gives it a bit of like feeling, feels more human. Same with the hi-hats. You can draw these in just like this, and then if you press the D whilst you've highlighted this lane, just quickly duplicate them across. It's pretty simple. It doesn't sound crazy. I've chosen these samples through Splice. Basic stuff. Just the key with production, this is a word of wisdom to you. The main key for production is choose good input sounds. If you choose a good kick, a good snare, and a good hi-hat, it makes your mixing job way less. It makes it all easier. Just don't make your life harder by choosing bad sounding sounds that you have to try and make sound good later. It's just way more effort than it's worth. The next thing I'm doing here with this track is, with the drums, is I've got a bunch of loops, all from Splice. So I love using just like percussion loops, just saves me a bit of time if I'm not in the mood to record them myself. We have this. Claps, we have this. So I've panned these left and right. And then this tambourine. And yeah, all together. So I think it's really important when you're doing drums is to bus them all together. So right now, these are all going to this drum bus, which if you just highlight all the tracks and you right click and add bus for selected channels, there I'm just doing a bit of compression, just gluing it all together, just kind of makes it pulse together. I've got some tape with the tape face. Just taking a little bit off the kick. A tiny bit of reverb just to add some space, and then just a VU meter just to monitor it all. Just glues it together, it sounds good. Next, we've got this bass, which is a serum bass, I think. very, very basic. I've just EQ'd a tiny bit of the low ends off it. Like I've barely mixed this beat or this song, if that's what it is. I've just been playing around with this synth called Vital, which is basically Serum, but they have a free version and it's really good. It sounds great. I'm going to make some preset packs that you can download for Vital. Definitely check it out. It's basically Serum, but they offer it for free. And the free version doesn't seem particularly limited. I don't think it's got all of the wavetables, but like it sounds really good. So definitely worth checking that out. I've been using it in some more productions recently. Next up, I got some guitar. So that's using the Kemper amp, the Kemper profiling amp. If you don't have a Kemper, which most people don't, you can just plug a guitar lead DI into your interface, and then Ampire by PreSonus is great, does the trick. So this is gonna sound whack though. And you can put effects on it, which is cool somehow. Oh yeah, like that. So yeah, don't let gear limit you. You can do all of this stuff relatively easily without expensive gear at all. And before that, I have these chords, which is kind of in like a verse drop down section. Just chords. This sort of main pad progression using Contact. Sounds good. I'm pretty sure I just clicked this randomize button a bunch and then it came out with this cool vibe. These chords are from some like MIDI chord pack because I was feeling lazy and couldn't be bothered coming up with my own chords. So you can do that kind of stuff as well. You don't have to always be ultra creative with the chords, in my opinion. You can use, there's various plugins as well, like Captain Chords, where you can just get that to create a cool vibey chord progression, and then you can work off that. And I feel like the melodies are the important part, really. Like those are the things that are copyrightable. So make sure you don't copy melodies, but copying chords, I feel less like, whoa, that's a terrible thing to do because there's not that many chords. There's not that many notes to write melodies, but there's less with chords. These last two things are kind of throwaway parts I recorded on the Arturia Mini Freak that's under that little crate. And that's just a synth, a hardware synth, and they sound like this. And like this. I like to pan things around. It gives it space. So this pad that I just played was on the right. The little lead before was on the left. The main pad is in the center. That guitar is in the center. There's a guitar a bit earlier on that's a little bit weird using Snap Heap by Kilohertz. It's got a reverser. That's to the right. This main guitar is centered. We could probably pan that somewhere. The percussion is panned around. Basically, keep the center for things that you want to be the center of attention. As you can see, I kind of came into this video just needing to make a video, and I wasn't entirely sure what the message would be, but to me, this song sounds good, and I've actually not done that much stuff. I've not really done that many transitions. In fact, I've done no transitions, which I should do. It's important to do transitions. But you can kind of get away with transitions by just cutting things. For instance, we're about to go into this first chorus section. I've just cut the percussion. It still signals that that's happening. With the pattern editor, if you press G, it converts it into just like a MIDI file. And you do that, and then just before a section ends, you just cut after the snare and the hat that hits at the same time. Again, it just signals a new section. It's a really easy way to jump between parts, and you can add like risers and all that stuff as well, but it's just a simple way to do it, and it's fast. I like to sometimes drop my drums, so what I did is I clicked Option Command B, or if you right click and just go bounce to new track, I bounce the drums down, and then I put them through Decimort, which is a bit crusher and filtering system, and then I EQ'd a bit of the lows out and a bit of room reverb. I just find sometimes dropping the drums into like a filtered kind of lo-fi sort of sound, it's a nice break. And then when the drums come back in, it all brightens up and it's a chorus again, or whatever the equivalent is for this. This is instrumental music that I will be releasing under my instrumental lo-fi chill beat artist profile incognito mode. There's a link below to stream that if you want, but you can listen to how this kind of works here. There's something really nice about having this like muffled section open up into a really bright, loud section. Just, I don't know, it feels right. I feel like my general philosophy is to not have too much stuff happening. Like, it looks like there's more than really what's going on. Consider all of these things part of a group. Then you've got bass, a guitar in the chorus. There's a bit of overlap, but they do filter out. There's some chords, and then there's a lead part and sort of a more ambient part on the right. You don't need a lot of parts for it to feel full. It's really about the processing, and that is honestly like a different video in itself. I've got quite a lot of mixed bus processing. I like to use the what do you even call it? Mix effects. I like the Alpine desk. It just adds a bit of grit, which I like. But you don't need tons of stuff. Just make sure that each part is good. Make sure they all count. As you can see, there's not tons of stuff going on. Just keep it simple. Also, I use this EQ by Plugin Alliance, the Kirchhoff EQ, but you can also use the EQ that's built into Studio One. That's really good. I just, for whatever reason, have just started using these various plugins, but don't think that you can't use the basic stock stuff because a lot of it is fantastic. I use Fat Channel quite a lot, which is... I mean, I don't even, what is Fat Channel? I'm not sure, but they have a bunch of emulations. If you've got PreSonus Sphere, you get access to all this stuff. Their 2A is good, their 76 is good. This Brit compressor is practically the same thing that I'm using on my drum bus. So it's an SSL, or it's a emulation of an SSL. I use that on my master bus as well. They've got cool EQs to use. All of this stuff sounds great, and you just play around with it and you can kind of come out on the other side. Anyway, that was me breaking down this song, showing you how to produce something chill. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell. If you have any questions, comment below. I'm always looking for video topics. I want to start doing a few more pop-based videos, like how I made these types of songs, maybe some more live stuff where I'm actually making things on the fly. If either of those sound interesting to you, let me know. Final takeaway of this video is just be creative, have fun. Studio One is great. I spent far too many hours and days being like, is Studio One good enough? Would the pros use Studio One? I've been making a lot of music lately, and I don't know, I think it sounds pretty good. I've not had an issue with it. So don't be using that as an excuse. Just make music, have fun. Good luck. I'll catch you guys later. See ya.